I think my problem is the original time, Michael was my favorite, the blue-haired one. I think I only like him for his mobile suit. Johan's definitely my guy amongst the group. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Gundam 00. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. So let's go ahead and look at that board first thing. Where, with the board changelog, I have connected Joshua to lock on with a red line, and then I marked Joshua as dead. I added the Trinity trio. I connected the Thrones to the main Celestial Being group with a green line. I connected Nina Trinity to Ali Al-Sachez with a red line. I added a purple arrow from Patrick to Katie. I connected Michael Trinity to Sergei and Soma with a red line. And I connected Johan Trinity to Patrick, Graham, Howard, and Daryl with a red line.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Al-Sachez with Nina. Or Nana. Yeah. I was seeing those two lines. I'm like, makes sense. And talking of which, we get to our notes, starting with episode 15, Broken Wings. What is this? 3 new red Gundams in the new intro?
Are they in the intro?
Yes, they are. Silhouetted against the moon.
Were they not in the intro before?
No. Well, I didn't notice them.
I don't, like I said, I typically don't do the opening breakdown stuff when I do shows with you. When I do shows by myself, I'll do like a whole 10, 15 minutes talking about what I think is going to happen in the season or whatever because of what's in the opening. That's also highly dependent upon the opening being of a certain type.
Yeah.
Like the Fearin opening kind of shows you what's going to happen by little, oh, there's a guy there's a guy drinking, and there's a whole arc about a guy who's looking for like the oldest drink, and there's these two praying in a church, and it's like, oh, there's the whole village gets attacked, everyone's dead in a church thing. It's like, okay, that all made sense. But here, especially with this show that I already know stuff, can't really do that here.
Something that I just noticed, and I did actually call out on the episode, but I called it out because I noticed one of them, not the other two that were there.
According to Sergei, there are a total of 832 mobile suits participating in this exercise. I thought I had written down the numbers for the Moralia fight, as I believed them to be less than, but still comparable in scale. But apparently I hadn't, so I did some checking. According to the dialogue, they say over 100 mobile suits, which can really mean anything. However, according to Mark Simmons, who worked on the English translation of the show, posted this back in March of 2001. I think Gundam 00 has always had an issue with the animators putting in too many mobile suits. Back in episode 6 of the first season, we're told that the combined AEU, Moralia, and PMC Trust forces have more than 130 mobile suits. But in an establishing shot, we see them all lined up in an orderly grid. I count a whopping 528. If memory serves, it was a 22 by 24 grid. That's 4 times the number indicated by the script. The next episode tells us that 68 mobile suits were destroyed or heavily damaged, but I'm willing to bet we see a lot more than that trashed in the animation. Just for comparison, in episode 15, we're told, but not shown, that the Taklamakan Desert exercise involves 832 mobile suits from all 3 superpower blocks. A section of info about future episodes that I've redacted for spoilers. So the notation that there were more than 500 mobile suits on the scene in Moralia, more than 400 of them belonging to Moralia and the PMC Trust alone, seems utterly ridiculous, even if we count that many as in the animation. Redacted paragraph. Sunrise's rule that filmed works are official doesn't really help us here, since we're forced to choose between the scripted dialogue and the animation. Redacted closing statement, Mark.
Yeah, dialogue and visuals can certainly clash. We discussed that at length in the past.
Well, in Macross 7? Say 7.
And Legend of Galactic Heroes and many other anime.
No, I don't think I've ever counted ships in Legend of Galactic Heroes. I know in the attack on, I can't remember their names anymore. The attack on the ice planet at the very end of Macross 7.
Yeah.
I did a whole counting note where I specifically counted how many planes were destroyed, because they sent 27 with them, and I was counting how many got destroyed, make sure that it was more destroyed than they sent or something like that, and it seemed to have added up. But anyway, the point here is that apparently there's a rule with Sunrise that filmed works are official. Meaning, despite what a person might say, what appears on screen is official.
Yeah, Saji, if you're not getting the message, those seem like engagement rings to me.
I don't think there is any real message. She's the rich one.
Yeah, but she wants him to buy them for them so he can
give me the money, bitch.
That's the point. Save up your cash and
save up the cash. Can't afford that shit. You know how much that's worth?
The 1,700. No, the EV was 1,700. Well, I don't know.
You know what, Lessons? Let me, before you do the math, I don't know what currency EV is in the Gundam 00 world of the early 2000s, but today it's a cryptocurrency. Given the state of the US dollar in the world right now, this could change on the daily, but as of today, those rings would cost $756. Since we know that they cost 1,200 EV, again, whatever an EV is, must be worth 63 cents on the dollar. Of course, as I've said, I'm valuing the dollar in the real world as a basis for us, who use the dollar. That obviously has no reflection on what the dollar might be valued in the show itself.
I don't know if EV is, in fact, a different currency. It could be. I mean, they're part of the
It has to be a different currency. They're charging for it.
No, but it could be a version of sales tax, basically.
No. Wouldn't list that on the cost of the thing.
It might be the common currency for the union.
It's electronic value. I'm just saying, searching as I did, all I found was EV as a cryptocurrency, not as a national currency anywhere. But not saying it couldn't be one here. Obviously, it is one here. That's the point. But all I did was find out how much it would be worth. Which is to say, again, 63 cents on the dollar, which is weirdly close to what the yen is worth to the dollar, I believe.
The premiere of the HRL. We set this up. We want 2 Gundams for it. Already upped the price.
Well, I guess I'll just hit you with my note then, too, because I covered the same conversation, but I go a little bit more. 2 things about what the HRL chairman says. We were the ones who provided this site in the face of strong public criticism. At first, I was confused, thinking he had blabbed their secret plans to everyone. Then it occurred to me he just meant holding the joint operation in their territory at all caused public criticism, which made more sense than what my 2 a.m. brain was thinking. We want at least 2 machines in return. Well, there you go. You were bringing up how they'd likely turn on one another, or how this would all go south over who would manage to get what Gundam. But the politicians at the top are already breaking out the negotiators to start making deals. Not that worked, by the way.
No.
I mean, I literally was keeping track of which countries were attacking which Gundams to see who's trying to capture who. And it doesn't seem like the HRL was going after the ones he thought they would go after. Not you thought, I thought. We thought. We as a people would have thought that the HRL would have gone after.
It was the AEU was about to get 2 of the machines. What's his name? Corsair?
You mean Colasar? Patrick Colasar?
No,
I mean they were only about to take.
Yeah, but remember that Alsace was also working for.
You think that? Well. You have no idea.
It seemed like he was.
It didn't seem. I don't know why you say it seems like he was.
Yeah, well, he got a machine from the French Foreign Legion. France is very much.
He's a mercenary. He's literally a mercenary. Yeah, he doesn't belong to any country. The point is that he might have gotten that thing as payment for doing the terrorist attack to bring them into the first place. He's like, yes. And then just went after chaos.
No, it was all planned. He was part of the plan, clearly.
I don't know what the fuck you're thinking sometimes. Look at that guy. You think that guy has a plan?
No,
he's like a dog chasing a car, Lessons.
He is part of the plan.
I'm joking, Lessons, at one point I'm joking, but at the same time, I think you're wrong. He's not working for no country. He's taking payments from countries. I don't think he's barely doing the jobs he's hired for.
He's not very good at doing the jobs. It doesn't mean he's not.
I would argue that he is good at doing the jobs. He's like the only one who stood up against Tetsuna this entire time. I just argue that he's good at fighting the Gundam pilot. He's not good at accomplishing the mission. But That's also because he like values his life more than his pride, which is, not bad. I'm not going to argue against that. The number one rule of an NPC is they should probably want to survive.
Since you answered yours with mine with yours, I'm going to go to the next one.
That's a confusing
I
circle.
don't know. The Gundams should take a lot of punishment for having standard armor.
No, they don't. They don't have standard armor.
Which is what I was saying. It's like, oh no,
No,
don't made
listen.
I'm
I'm being sarcastic.
Ah,
They do have standard armor. On top of that, though, they have a layer of an additional armor that you might not have heard of before. It's called plot armor.
oh, of course.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just normal ass armor. Here's the problem, lessons. It's like I don't know what to say to this. They might as well just be standing out there in the open with bullets ricocheting off of them, because legitimately they are just normal armor, as we've been told.
Yet they seem to have their bullets ricocheting from them, like hundreds of missiles and explosions, and they're like, okay, sure.
Don't know what to tell you. Unfortunately, the additional problem is that they've got these super shields that can block all that stuff, and they're just not using it.
But they didn't use them. Well, if they're not using them, that means that the armor has to be taking the hits.
Why are you trying to argue with me?
Because my argument is that
I wasn't even arguing with you. I said the problem is they've got these super shields that they're not even using, and you're like, yeah. So you jumped in like it was just part of like your opening, like, aha, you dropped your guard, now I can uppercut. Like, no, I was saying that is a narrative problem that could have been solved if they had just put their shields in, but no, they just stood there the entire time. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to imply that they've got super armor, then you're wrong, because apparently all of our boffins in the back with the technical manuals are telling us no. So, look, I don't know what to say. I'm both a victim of the technical manual conversations, and sometimes, to be fair, I did give them a full hate run of this show before. The least I can do is agree with them this time.
Okay.
I wonder if Sergei thought the Gundams would just show up without the terrorist plot. I mean, past indication would seem to be that they would. Moralia and the HRL's own space operation to be counted as proofs. So I guess the faux terrorist attack was just an added measure to ensure that they wouldn't be ignored, or to give the Gundams a target that wouldn't immediately be one of their own faction bases, so that they didn't just lose a third of their units in a Gundam surprise attack, creating a decoy for them so that they attacked their position would be known. I know I don't in that mention why the fuck I brought up Sergei. Sergei seems shocked. What the fuck are those terrorists doing? It's like, you're here to fight the Gundams. Why are you?
Yeah, but it wasn't part of the. Basically,
it was part of it because they got hired by the government to do that. The terrorists, I mean.
Yeah, yes, but
I'm indicating why Sergei would be confused. He should be in on the loop.
But he wasn't.
I know. Lessons, you came for a fight today. You chose violence. You're like, oh, the call's getting started. Me and the debate club, we were practicing earlier. I'm just saying it's weird that Sergei's confused. He should be in the loop. Why would he be confused? He knows they need an instigator. And then I listed the reasons why they wouldn't need an instigator, but the reasons why an instigator would be helpful so that the Gundams just don't swoop in and attack 3 different of your bases so the operation never starts to begin with. And then explain the fact that I didn't explain why I was talking about Sergei to begin with.
It also has the advantage of putting at least one of the Gundams in a known location.
That's what I said. That's literally what I said. It's like creating a decoy for them so when they attacked, their position would be known.
Well, you got to give it to the enemy forces. They studied their targets and executed a plan that divided their enemies and targeted them effectively.
I'll skip ahead to... I think the brilliance of the worldwide plan is the constant refreshing of troops and long-range battle strategy. It shows that they analyzed and learned from what happened in Moralia. I mean, Billy gave the game away to talking to Sumeragi before, so we know that this was coming. But constantly keeping your forces fresh while the Gundam Meisters get more and more worn down with fatigue is the perfect way to handle plot armor machines. Keeping your forces as far away as possible also ensures a minimum of losses, so you can continue to cycle those units without having to replace many of them with reserves.
Yeah. They tried to do something like that in Wing, but the problem was that they would go toe-to-toe with them and they get blasted, and it's like, oh yeah, these guys can those guys did have special armor, therefore they could just shrug off the hits, and they were like, oh, we're getting hit, oh my god, where he's like, no, we are, trapping them and tiring them, and counting on the fact that we can't hurt them. So, blood armor or otherwise. Whatever reason we can't kill them with one shot, therefore we have to do this way, right? And it was an hours long battle, which leads me, I believe, to my next note.
Yeah, 15 times the length.
The switching back and forth between the Gundams on the battlefield and the rest of the team waiting in their safe house makes for nice breaks between the action sequences and raises the tension.
If you like it, sure.
I mean, the otherwise it would be like boom, boom, explosion, explosion, is bumping, shot, 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 more shot, more
I
shot,
don't
more
know. You
explosion.
could do stuff with it. The constant explosions, and then go to the PTSD flashbacks of each one of the characters who has a backstory that's related to something horrible. Say, Lock-On actually being around when the explosion happened that ruined that part of town and killed his parents, or Setsuna as he does, going back to Kyrgyz. I mean, you could get really deep onto the character, like psychological breakdown moments. I don't know. Just the hand back of people like just waiting isn't it. My favorite part of Apollo 13?
13, yeah.
My favorite part of Apollo 13 isn't when they pan back to the old folks' home and the person's messing with the TV so they can, he's supposed to be landing on the moon today. Like, no, that's not my favorite part. My favorite part's when they go back up there and they're trying to solve the problem, or the guys in the NASA thing. This is what we've got to solve the problem. People doing stuff. Now, panning to the people not doing stuff and waiting for stuff to be done, not the entertaining part.
Everybody shows their frustration that they can't do anything about it, and they're like, God damn it, they should be done by now.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Fair enough. Do that once. The third time you do it, I already knew you couldn't do anything. So, is that mine? Or you?
That was mine.
So either Sumeragi or Veda are psychic. Given the intricacies of their plan, how could you possibly guess that 2 hours in is when Soma would show up? Even more, to specifically where Alleluia was. And yet, she definitely thought they were going to die out there, self-destruct style, or go automatic, whatever that means in hindsight. Surely she didn't anticipate the thrones. As is mentioned, they don't seem to be in Veda's plans either.
Yeah, I have more about the thrones later on, so I won't comment here, but it is.
Well, by the end of the episode, Sumeragi's like, thank God things didn't go the way I thought. And the only hint that we have that things would go that way is that her conversation with Billy. It's like, what will they do? Mm-hmm. Oh, they either put them in automatic or they go self-destruct. And it's like, what do you mean? What would they benefit? Like, would they fall asleep? Like, oh God, I'm so fucking tired. They put it automatic. Like, what would they have done? I get the self-destruct. That's like, oh God, we can't let the Gundams fall in enemy hands. We'll blow ourselves up, whatever. But putting it into automatic, at least that works for Lock-On. He's got a Haru. I can imagine the Haru piloting the Gundam away.
Yeah. So who are these observers that Corner is talking to? Or is going to talk to, actually? I know. People on that, yes, I know there's another episode we covered. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. But two part of it anyway. So.
Yeah, I just realized that I put a lot of my notes into that Mark quote thing, and I don't actually have that many notes left. Well, since I'm not going to hit that until we hit that later. So Patrick announces that the AEU's target is Virtue. We saw the HRL go after Kyrios. Joshua breaking ranks to go after the Dynamis doesn't make much sense to me, as I would have assumed with the HRL wanting 2, that they would want the Dynamis as well, and Graham would focus on Setsuna, which is, previous plots being what they are. But since Joshua went out like an idiot, we can say that wasn't in the plan, but then Graham follows up with it too, so maybe the HRL was planning to take the Exia as their second.
If they paid out to seize.
Well, in this instance, I'm not even considering Alcatraz as a player in that game. It's just the element that we've seen 3 of them go after 3, and the Exia was wandering away on its own, meaning that if the HRL was really going to try and take 2, the Exia was the only one left to take.
Talk about Joshua. Joshua's death shows that, even with overwhelming numbers against them, the Gundams are still a threat. He got cocky, he got shot.
I don't think that shows that at all. I think that shows if you fly in and are an idiot stuff happens to idiot people.
Well, yeah, I mean, It's kind of like that's what I said. Basically, he got cocky
Well,
and got
you
shot.
said that it's even with great plans and everything, that the Gundams are still a threat. It's like, no, he one broke plan because he's like, don't do that. He's like, oh, I'll show you how a commander does things. Like, no, he wasn't acting to plan, as I even mentioned in my thing just a second ago. No, it just shows you that an idiot with a machine is an idiot. I don't think we learned anything from Joshua. That's probably for the best. The only thing we learned from Joshua is don't be Joshua.
If you're Joshua, you're dead.
So Alejandro is an observer of some group that has the authority to accept the 3 new Gundams or not, and yet refers to celestial beings' plans as something other, and refers to the 3 new Gundams as possible secret team. So indications of them both being in celestial being and being a part of it. Sorry, that's confusing. When I say a part, I mean a part, like in separated.
Apart from, yeah.
Yeah, well, when I say you're being part of celestial being and then being a part of it, that's very bad wording to use.
Yeah. I have notes about that too, but we'll get to that in a moment. My next note. So the Agrisa is actually a mobile armor with an electric attack similar to Macube's Max-03 Adzam.
This is what I brought up in the reaction. Yeah. I think you were arguing with me at the time too for some reason. I literally said that's just like this was like Amuro's attack on the mine and the mobile armor they pulled out there. I didn't have Adzam, its name on my top of on my lips, but I said that, and I remember you were arguing with me about it. Maybe you were arguing about something else at the time. I specifically brought that up, and I remember you were just not about it. This forced Veda to make revisions to its operation plan in the following days. A rather revealing quote.
Oh, I think Veda's still an AI of some sort, so that's my guess. And my last note for this episode, enter the new Gundams.
Hard to do when they're flying.
What do you mean?
It's hard to enter them when they're flying.
Enter the scene, that's... Never mind.
You're going to make a short note. I'm going to make a short comment about it.
Yeah.
I only have one note left, because obviously I've already been in the second episode this whole time. Besides, I don't like their style of not killing enemy pilots unless they absolutely have to. Bullshit. Remember in Mission 2, Setsuna killed a guy for just running past him. Intending to continue... All he did was intend to continue fighting. Not fight them, just some other guys. He was actually saying thank you to them. He could have shot the arms and legs off the thing. He chose to carve it right through where we've seen the cockpits are. It seems more likely that it's just happenstance if you survive. But you're more likely to die.
Lock-on is the one that tends to shoot to disable. Not always, though. He shot plenty of people in the face.
I tell you, Terra ain't fucking shooting to disable. That thing hits everything in a path.
No, it just disintegrates everything.
It's like when you see the evil Superman ones, and he's like, he shoots a beam that goes across a continent, you know? It's like when it splits the clouds in the atmosphere. Dude, these people are not pulling their punches, but a show really wants us to forget those things, I think.
Yeah, the kids that got murderized by Louis as well. That wasn't pulling punches. He literally brought extra rocket launchers to do that. So,
but I mean, here's the thing: it's one episode apart, legitimately, because the first episode where we're doing the fighting, Soma mentions that.
Yeah,
Soma's like, he killed all my compatriots. Isn't he one of them? Like, they reminded us.
Yeah. On to episode 16, Trinity. Patrick eating his own words was pretty satisfying. He almost pulled I'm a king of the world. Shit, we're being attacked. Fuck.
I tell you, man, if there's a one character I would want to be in the show, it's Patrick.
He barely survived that one.
I hope someday you'll realize how funny a statement that is. Although there's something about that scene that I hope that future me does remember to put a note down for. I made allusions to it all throughout the reaction, but you had no idea what the fuck I was reacting to, because it's redacted. I'm not finishing sentence.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about Soma. Soma talking about pressure moments before Michael attacked is an interesting tidbit. Like, can you feel that pressure? And then he shows up, and we had this whole argument that I thought that he too was one of the artificial beings.
We had an argument. I think you said that, and I said, impossible. Why would you think that? All I did was ask you for more information.
Now I think all three of them might be artificial humans.
Why would you think that?
It it feels like it's more of a vibe that I get from them. I would need more information to confirm or deny, but I get that vibe of like these three were, hatched together basically.
I think what you need lessons is a very specific light in front of you. When you open up your notes, you get like a whole thing of your face, but you need like one that's aimed at your glasses. So you can do one of those Eva like moments.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. Light comes on, your glasses just completely. Just a feeling I've got.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. My next note. That field of GM particles feels like the start of a horror movie where the sky turns blood red and the king of demons rises from his grave to slaughter all mankind.
I don't know. It'd be a bit much. The implication being that blood being sprayed. In which case, that'd be enough blood to cover an entire desert. In which case, then you're going overboard. Like when you're watching a comedic horror movie and somebody gets like stabbed and it's like blood for 10 minutes, just like a gush, a fire hose.
Yeah. But in anime, I can see it happening. Like this great visual effect. Oh, the demon lord's rising, and then blood everywhere in the sky.
Yeah, I assume it takes place in Devilman Crybaby or some shit like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This goes to the I don't remember the name of the lady colonel. What's the name of her?
Katie.
The lady. Yeah.
Or as we're now going to call her from now on lessons, the lady colonel.
The lady colonel. Yeah. Mannequin. That's the last name.
Katie Mannequin. Yes, but Katie's shorter than Mannequin.
Mm-hmm. They failed. How could this happen? He just told you how it happened. The guy was like, well, it seems that they failed because a lot of people, more Gundam show up. It's like, how could this happen? I just told you. More people showed up, I know the thing is like they weren't expecting the reinforcements, but still it came off as being very awkward. It's like, I tell you something happened, you were like, but how did it happen?
I don't know, lessons. If we've been doing a thing for 15 hours and we're like on the cusp of victory, and then out of nowhere something not planned for, because again, the boffins in the back have been working on this for a while. I might say some shit too.
Yeah, I know what. Again, I understand that what she's trying to say is, oh, we did not expect this. This is unexpected. But the way it came out, like the sequence, like it would have been like, oh, we failed. And she said something, how did this happen? We're failing. And he's like, oh, I have the explanation for it. That would have been more.
I mean, I also indicate that much like the Gundam pilots themselves, she's been on her Sergei, I assume. Oh no, Sergei's out in the field. So technically, yes. But she's been on command this entire time too.
Yeah.
So she might not be like riding the thing around or whatnot, but she's been like paying attention to everything going around, getting reports, making sure everything. So if you think you're on top of everything and get like mentally fatigued by all the fucking work you've been doing, how? What did I fucking miss? What's going on?
Ironically, a more bewildered expression, like more like you said right now. It's like, what? How? It would have been much better, but I guess just the way it was worded was a bit weird to me. Okay, here we go to the observers. Okay, so the observers are not celestial being. Didn't know about the new Gundams yet have a veto over the deployment, and said veto requires unanimous consent. My take on it is that the observers are the financial power behind celestial being, and by the objects they chose to use to represent them, they come from all over the world.
It would seem to me that like whatever Wang is, it seems like that with this going on here. The question we had early on, is Wang a member of the celestial being?
Yeah, we didn't know.
Well, because when Wang shows up later, or I guess now, they've been doing like, hell, the intelligence network says this, or the intelligence network says that. Well, what's a bunch of observers, but an intelligence network?
True, but your intelligence people usually don't get vetoes over your operations, right?
Yeah, maybe they should. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of. Not a lot of, actually. I was thinking a bunch of shorts I was watching a video legitimately about the worst deaths in space for real life. And every one of them is typically the engineering team said we shouldn't do this. Yeah. And then they said, no, we will anyway. And then the engineering team fixed what the problem was after those guys died. So it's like, if you're in this case, the engineering team is your intelligence team. The intelligence team is telling you no go. Well, maybe you should no go.
My next note is short. Oh, a mid-episode clip show.
Well, I do interject information and opinion. So it's not a global
Purely
report,
fiction.
if you will,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a Macross reference for those of you who just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Which brings me to the next question. Are Trinity and the observers watching the same footage? Because they both are commenting on it. It's like, oh, these guys are this. And they're like, are they watching the same thing?
I mean, the idea that's still out there is, are the observers part of celestial being or not? As indicated, it seems like they're not, but then they've got power over it. So, presumably, if they are, then they would have access to the same footage.
Yeah, but the way it's put, they're making comments and the observers are also making comments, and it's interjected by the footage that we're watching. It feels like they're both all of them watching it screen, like, oh yeah, that
Well,
guy's an
since it's
idiot.
a bit
Okay,
of a clip show element, there's
yeah,
no actual indication that things are happening at the same time.
true, but that's how it's presented.
Because technically, Alejandro left to have this meeting midway through the last episode.
Yeah,
Then we see him
hours ago.
having the meeting. Oh, because Ribbons even goes, no, you're not. Fucking hate adults.
Yeah,
I guess, and also
Ribbons.
indicating that Ribbons isn't as old as he would seem to be. Or that he just hates other adults, which is fair.
And my last point. Seeing the terrorist attack on Tokyo again makes me wonder how neither Sanji nor Louise seem to have lasting psychological trauma from witnessing it, or actually being victims of it. Just
Well, I mean, they do.
survived. I guess that explains Sanji's obsession with celestial being. Like after that, he's like, "Wow, I just got to stay over and watch celestial being all the time." Because
I think my problem with figuring out when you're done your comment is when you interject in the middle of your own comment, because you have a cadence of reading, then a cadence of individual thought. So when you go off, I was like, oh, you're just adding stuff again, as you normally do to the end. So I'll interject real quick. Oh, no, you're reading again. No, I mean, obviously, I think that they do. Literally, Saji has stayed up all night watching the horrible news of what's going on. And that's the thing that's only been in his character after the explosions start happening. Otherwise, there were previous times where he's had been called, hey, turn on the news, or I just saw that thing the other day, and he's been fine. So this is a new development post that. And one could argue that Louise is developing her own thing of hyper fixation on stuff around her, where previously she was a bit more carefree. But I'm no therapist.
neither am I, by the way.
Right. I'm just saying that outwardly you don't have to be like Setsuna to be displaying PTSD. All right, well, anyway, those were our notes. Now, Lessons is going to regale us with a comment.
Okay. Kelly Winslow from the Changing World. I played a lot of Virtual On Lessons. A comma would have helped there. Both on Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast. Cool make game back in the day. Never got the dual stick controller though. Although they did release Virtual On for the Xbox 360, and those controls are pretty close to the arcade. Still have Virtual Cop with the light guns as well. I played it exclusively on the arcade. I've been trying to get it from MAME to work, but no dice. Of course, for the Ultimate Mech experience, you will have to play Steel Battalion for the original Xbox with a massive controller. It has 40 buttons. Yeah, I know about that. Okay, that's not gonna happen. That's hideously expensive to get in eBay. If you can get that controller. I've been playing Super Robot War Z2 for the PS3 when you guys started reacting to Double O. It's funny because one of the story points of the game centered around the Double O movie. No spoilers here, but it is hilarious to see Basara buff Setsuna and Char with his songs while Celestia being used as its ship, along with Gurren Lagann to take down a space monster from Gunbuster. Basara mentioned. Ugh. Theta mentioned Tactical Forecast. Never heard of that. Not sure if that's part of the big box set I watch. Maybe I skimmed it by accident. I have no idea where it would fit in the series. Well, that answers that question. He doesn't know. Like everyone else who hasn't told you anything. But we already resolved that part, so I don't think that's an issue. As far as the music goes, Lessons mentioned some Chinese instruments that may have been used for the score. Since Kenji Kawai did music and he's used things like that in both in Ghost in the Shell scores, it wouldn't surprise me if he used stuff like that here. Okay. So Celestial being goal solving war with violence would seem to contradict itself, but their goal isn't quite what it seems. I won't go into detail for lesson's sake, thank you, obviously, and I apologize if I ever did spoil anything. That's okay. But end goals actually won't really be fully known until the second season and the film. Well, I surmise that probably that's how it goes. So don't judge their measures too harshly just yet. I mean, they murdered kids, so yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna hold judgment on that judgment. These are elements that remind me of the show Invincible, even the original Gundam, but we'll talk about those much later. Okay, sure. Sadly, though, humans are flawed and it's their nature to fight for logical reasons. Lessons is right that he's saying that even if you remove the ability to fight, it still won't solve the inherent problem. People need to be improved on an individual basis. Well, individual and collective.
Yeah, I believe it was
sure.
Durandal said that.
Yeah, I should say both individual and collective, and technology by itself.
Glad to see we got some more pro Durandal people in the audience.
Yeah. Well, actually, I say Durandal was trying to create an utopia where
I'm pretty sure Durandal agrees with all those statements you just said. You have to improve people individually and as a community.
Yeah, you can't force them to change with systems. I disagree. You can force them. You can improve the material condition, the psychological effects, and then that would engender change. It is a lesson that Mamoru Oshii explored in his film Jinro and his Kerberos Panzer Corps stories. People have to improve one step at a time, and it's a painful process. Oh, well, that's, I think, true. What Celestial Being is doing is right or not is something lessons we'll see at the end. Take it easy, guys, and have a good one. The end.
This ends my TED Talk.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was thinking when you were doing that Steel Battalion, I do have like a thing former uncle had made a while back. It's not as complicated as Steel Battalion, but it's like a wood board with like a bunch of different I guess they would be, you know what? Hold on.
It's I see what it is. HOTAS. Hands-on throttle stick. I need one of those, by the way. I don't have those sticks. I bought a cheap stick to play a game the other day, and I threw it away. It looked like something. It was amazing. Getting good ones, they're expensive. It starts running about $100 or more if you really want a good setup, which is why I don't have it.
In my head, I always remember there being more to it, but whatever.
Oh, it's a HOTAS, a hands-on throttle stick setting. Yeah, a good thing to put in a plank so it doesn't jig too much.
Well, I think his thing was he would put it across the chair, so he would do it like that. Like I said, in my memory, there was always more to it than that, but whatever.
I mean, that one is pretty sophisticated. It has quite a bit of buttons, especially on the throttle part.
No, I mean, like I remember there being more than just the two things.
I mean, you could have had more things like a keyboard and stuff like that attached to it.
I mean, I've specifically held on to that, so it's in there with my sword.
You were studying that. I was studying the sword.
Yeah. Well, you were in law school. I was buying fake swords.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a gift I actually gave to him. He died. That's why I have the stuff.
Yeah. These are actually expensive. A couple of $100 between the two of them, right?
Wouldn't know.
And they still work, yeah.
I mean, somewhere in there, I also have the CDs and everything for everything. And now I own a computer with no CD drive, so...
Yeah, you have to download the drivers from somewhere else and see if they're compatible for Win 10 or better.
Well, all that being said, nothing left to do but hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
80 years later. 80 years ago.
Yeah. That's like a bulkhead? Yeah. Space bulkhead. A damaged ship in Jupiter? That looks like Jupiter.
It's funny, we just got back to Zeta a little while ago. So technically they started 86 years ago.
Haru.
What, you don't recognize him?
Yeah, the one from the Oh, actually, that actually looks like the Jupitrix.
Lala Soon created the multiverse lessons.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Sure.
Also, I disagree. That did not look like the Jupitrix at all.
Huh?
Did not look like the Jupitrix. You're like, I think you're saying that looked like the Jupitrix because it had containment vessels for the gases that they would have been pulling. Which, in which case,
And the
every
ring.
transport that ever went to Jupiter in every Gundam series all look like the Jupiterus to you.
I'm going to leave
in
it to the
G-Plex, when we
comments.
saw the ships that Chalia Bull went to Jupiter with,
Yeah.
those didn't look like the Jupiterus.
No.
Chalia Bull's ships in the regular Mobile Suit Gundam didn't look like the Jupiterus.
But that doesn't mean that these couldn't look like Jupiter.
No, I'm saying I didn't look like the Jupiterus because it had this weird, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like church window
tanks, yeah.
kind of shape, but with metal bits. The Jupiterus does not have that shit. So like I said, the only identifying thing that you're saying it looks like that for is for the fact that it has containment tanks on it.
Oh, and the ring as well. The central ring and the spike that was
Oh, no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying the Jupiterus does not have that. The Jupiterus is more like a freighter, like a simple fucking giant freighter vessel.
Yeah, but it also has a ring as well.
Disagree. You sure you're not talking about the Agrama?
Nope.
The Agrama has a ring.
Yeah, no. It has columns, but not a ring.
I'll agree to disagree. Well, there you go. Doesn't exist in Veda's databanks.
So this is somebody else who created all this, parallel to the original.
Well, remember the last episode left off with them approaching each other on the ships.
Yeah.
Always my favorite weapon in Gundam. The bits.
Yeah, the guitar riffs are really selling it.
They work for me. I know you'd like some sort of free jazz or some shit.
I mean, I like the guitar riffs.
If free jazz started playing, I would think something was wrong with their ship.
Okay.
I think the oddity of his hand going up like that, the Exy's hand, is the fact that he was reaching forward with his hand, and that would imply some sort of G Gundam style control system.
There seems to be one, because remember when his eyes flash and the power of the Ixia just went, supercharged?
I mean, you knew they were coming. Why are you surprised all of a sudden?
There it is, the same.
I said we already saw it.
Yeah.
間違いありません。接近する船から放出されているのは GN 粒子です。
マジっすか？
船内に GN ドライブを4機確認。
やはり。しかし、奴らはどうやって太陽炉を？見ろ。ハッチが開くぞ。
ミハエル、ねえな、しっかり捕まっておけよ。了解。
俺たちが見た機体。
間違いない。モビルスーツからの光通信を確認。トレミーへの着艦許可を求めています。許可すると返信して。それからエクシアの。
Yeah, I mean, no point now unless you want to go and kill them real quick.
Yeah, kill them, yeah.
さてと。
着艦許可が出た。太れマイオスへ向かう。
Although their ship is undefended, because the Haru was here with them. Kind of just expected they would leave the Haru on the other ship to control it. Don't worry, guys, I wore my lowest top.
Yeah. Okay, why didn't they take their helmets?
Because they were just in space lessons.
スローネツバイのガンダムマイスターミハエル・トリニティだ。
スローネドライのガンダムマイスターレーナ・トリニティよ。みんな若いのね。それに名前が
血が繋がっています。
Weird statement, considering how young Setsuna is.
エ
Yeah.
クシアのパイロットって誰？え？あなた？
いや違う、俺だ。エクシアのガンダムマイスター刹那 F 戦
君ね、無茶ばかりするマイスターは。そういうとこすごく好みね。
Okay.
俺に触れるな貴様。妹に何
Sorry, it's the idea that consent is very important amongst the Gundammeisters, who are forcing themselves on people all the time anyway.
やめろミハエル。
Oh, he's the evil hero.
兄さんだ。
I mean, it does seem to indicate that the purple one is the
と
original.
にかくここじゃない
Yeah.
から。
Or an earlier version.
わかりました。
Well, no, I'm saying that someone says your memories. I'm, you know, they're all made from that one.
あいつらが新しいガンダムマイスター。初めて意見があったな。何をだ。口にしなくてもわかる。なんかすごい連中っすね。
私あの子嫌い。
お、まさかお前刹那のこと？
そういうことじゃなくて、こんなガンダムパパやママに聞かされてなかった。
Just remember, Felt's parents also worked on the Gundams
Yeah.
and they went missing, or dead, or whatever.
データバンクにあの機体がないのはなぜだ。
答えられません。私たちにも守秘義務がありますから。
ああ、残念。
Signed an NDA, you know how it
太
is.
陽炉、いや GN ドライブをどこで調達した？
申し訳ないが答えられない。
めてめて残念。なら君たちは何をしにここへ来たんだ？旧世代のモビルスーツにまんまとしてやられた無様なマイスターの面を拝みに来たんだよ。なんだと？なんつってね、なんつってね。気分が悪い。退席させてもらいます。後でベーダに報告書を。
わかったわ。
惜しいね。女だったらほっとかねえのによ。
ミハエル。
Okay.
ヨハニ、私つまんない。
Again, the idea that Gundammeisters have a problem with consent, considering what they're doing to the fucking world, is hilarious to me all of a sudden.
一緒に行く？行く？
Hey, I'm talking to you, son of a bitch.
私を怒らせたらダメよ。
Go figure that the girl who likes crazy would be herself crazy.
Which is crazy, yeah.
Remember, Griffin's favorite.
これだけは教えてくれない？あなたたちはあのガンダムで何をするのか。
もちろん戦争根絶です。
本当に？
あなたたちがそう
Hey,
で
are any of us gonna be concerned about the fact we just let one of them wander the ship on their own?
Yeah.
俺たちと組むってのか？バカ！そんなことすっか。あんたらがやばい介入しかしねえから俺らにお鉢が回ってきたんじゃねえか。どういう意味かな？言った通りの意味だ。当てになんねえのよ。あ？不完全な改造人間くん。何？お、やっか？
申し訳ない。弟の無礼を謝罪します。
I think my problem is the original time, Michael was my favorite, the blue-haired one. I think I only
Yeah.
like him for his mobile suit. Johan's definitely my guy amongst the group.
私たちはお払い箱？
今まで通りに作戦行動を続けてください。私たちは独自の判断で武力介入を行っていきます。
あなたたちはイオリア・シュヘンベルグの計画に必要な存在なのかしら？
どうでしょう。それは私たちのこれからの行動によって示されるものだと思います。
あんな奴らに ガンダムを与えたのは誰だ。とにかくレーダに情報の検証を。レーダのターミナルユニットが開いている。
Again, you let people wander their ship. What do you think's gonna happen?
そこにいるのは誰だ。どうやって入った。
Boom.
普通にね。
君たちは何者だ。
I guess he must have gone to the bathroom or something.
内緒。
He left before she did.
Yeah.
And suddenly she got ahead of him.
ちょっと。
言いたいことだけ言って帰りやがって。
でもあのヨハンって人なかなかよね。
そうっすか。うわ、いつの間にフォ撮ったんですか。
ちょっとね。
Photoshop.
すんなり返してよかった。
Never was there.
向こうの情報ほとんど引き出せなかったぜ。
そうでもないわよ。
いいよ。
おやっさん。
お前らが話してる間にあのスローネって機体調べておいたぜ。
おお、さすが戦術予報士。
報告書は独立端末でお願いします。決してベーダには入力しないで。
ん？了解した。
Remember, I'm psychic. I knew that they were going to infiltrate our whatever that room was.
ねえな、エクシアのパイロットセツナとか言ったっけ。あんなやつのどこがいいんだよ。
可愛いじゃない。レーナ一目惚れね。
あっそう。今度会ったら撃ち落としてやる。
ミッションが来たぜ。ミッションが来たぜ。
もうかよ。人使い荒えな。
世界に見せる必要があるのさ。ソレスタルビーイングの本気さをな。
貴重な情報ありがとうリボンズ。私は君に会ったことを神に感謝しているよ。
このためにあなたは僕を拾ってくれたんでしょう。
いいや、あの出会いは運命だった。そう、私がソレスタルビーイングの監視者になったことも。
世界をどうします？
何もしやしない。私は監視者だ。ただ世界の変革を見つめているだけの存在だ。
ようやく
Okay.
So I guess not bodyguard then?
しんどかった。バイトと掛け持ちだったし。
試験前くらい休めばいいのに。
ルイスがそれ言う？
何？
いいよもう。
何？
それよりさ、試験休みどうする？見たい映画とかあるんだったら。
あ、ごめん。私ちょっとスペインに戻ってくる。いとこの結婚式があるの。
そうなんだ。ゆっくりしてくるといいよ。うん。
浮気すんなよ。
何を？
浮気すんなよ。
しないってば。
You think I'm finding better than this rich blonde? Don't think so.
先輩、疲れてますね。
取材が空振り続きでね。
聞きました？各陣営の公式コメント。大破したモビルスーツは累計87機。戦死者は200名を超えたそうです。それから現地にいた兵士の証言によると、新しいガンダムが現れたらしいですよ。
It's a drink machine, by the way, if you
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I noticed that, but I was also doing math in my head. It's like only a tenth of the mobile suits they sent got destroyed.
池田さんから流れてきた噂だから、おそらく。
すぐにアポ取ってお願い。
わかりました。
与えられたミッションを失敗した上、優秀なフラッグファイターを3人も死なせてしまった。隊長失格だな、私は。
Two, at least two.
新型のガンダムが出てくるなんて予想もしていませんでした。
By the way, the other two guys that died from Illinois and Georgia.
せめてガンダムと同性能の機体があれば。フラッグは我が軍の最新鋭機だぞ。分かっている。しかし、ダリル、俺たちはフラッグファイターだ。矜持を見せろよ。
私だ。何？大気圏を突入してくる機体がある。
ガンダムか。
で、公開予測ポイントは。
It's more interesting that they made themselves known.
だと。
私の仮説通り、ガンダムのエネルギー発生器官がトロポジカルディフェクトを利用しているなら、全ての辻褄が合う。 ガンダムの機体数が少ない理由も200年以上もの時間を必要としたことも。あのエネルギー発生機関を作れる環境は木星。120年前にあった有人木星探査計画。あの計画がガンダムの開発に関わっておったのか。だとすれば、やはりヨリア・シュヘンベルグの真の目的は戦争根絶ではなく。
Dun dun dun.
なんだ。
Uh-oh.
Oh no, they've set us up the bomb. Unfortunately, the last thing we heard was that Elfman didn't share any of his knowledge yet. Oh, but hey, Billy's here.
目標ポイントに到達した。ねえな、ドッキングしてくれ。一気に殲滅させる。了解。
Oh, we saw this in Double O, where they're docking the two Gundams.
This is Double O.
I mean, not Sadam, I'm saying.
I mean, we've also seen it here before. Gotta do a ranking of Gundam bazookas at some point.
Can he just shoot directly at the building, I guess?
Oh, you've never played a game like this, Lessons. Yeah, there's Eichmann.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Billy, too. He seemed to have gotten thrown pretty hard.
Yeah.
The late.
隊長、新型が3機です。見ればわかる。我々の基地がグラハム片桐教授がエギフは教授がなんだと。
I think they just call him Elfman.
人袋の尾が消えた。有酸度ガンダム撤収するぞ。なんでだよ。少しぐらい遊ばせてくれよ、兄貴。何すぐ済むさ。破壊して蹂躙して殲滅してやる。行けよハンガー。
I think we had watched this right after Witch from Mercury. So the main suit in Witch from Mercury, the bits are their main weapon. And shield.
Oh, he's dead.
Take some pride, as he said. You know it's bad when they shout your full name. Hey, we still got Daryl. I just mean that I'm not counting Joshua as a member of that group, so it was a 3-man group to begin with. We still got Graham and Daryl.
Oh, he's pissed.
目的は
不明よ。ベーダにも情報が来てないみたいね。
勝手なことを。
おうおう、
Don't you also do whatever you want?
Well, no, they're saying that they listen to Veda, and these guys
Yeah.
didn't have any mission for that from Veda.
本当にガンダムマイスターなのか
What, are you pissed that somebody's attacking people on Earth? Like you do?
お父さんやお母さんによろしく。
Well, maybe not your dad. Say it on your mom, though.
何？
お別れの注視で。注視で。
できないよ。
もうサジったら気にしすぎ。でもそういうサジがいいよ。
ルイス。
じゃあ行ってくるね。
Also, more than enough evidence he's not going to cheat on you. Unless a stronger-willed woman shows up.
Yeah. Is he saving money for the rings though? He said, "Oh, I'm working very hard. I was working while I was studying." So,
well, we already know he works as a pizza man.
I don't know how much he has saved though.
Is that what you want to? Is that where your notes are going to be next time?
Huh?
The contents of Sachi's wallet. We've seen him working for this time. There was a 6-month time gap, and the average worker makes this many hours, and this breakdown of the realistically how long it would take a pizza man to save this much money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to expect that for your next book report lessons. I was joking. Refer to our note sections as book reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eichmann's gone.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, Howard's gone.
Yet. Yeah.
When it comes to background side characters, I don't consider Howard to be in the same league as Eichmann. Eichmann has already gotten way more lines than Howard ever got.
It means that whatever Eichmann,
E-I-F, man.
Yeah, whatever he discovered.
信念や理念があろうとも戦場で散りゆくは人の命である今日もまた誰かの涙がこぼれゆく次回悪意の矛先刹那ガンダムを否定する
Oh boy. That doesn't bode well.
But the aim of evil intents?
No, the fact that that's Louise in the hospital.
Maybe she's on a retreat. She is visiting family in Spain.
And has a headband in the hospital.
Nope, that is from the Lan clan. It's for serenity and dispelling illusions, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't take it off of her. She'll get mad. I will point out that we are, with episode 18, we will be 7 episodes away from the end of the season.
Big season reveal, I suppose. And I foresee that these two Gundam are going to fight against each other, basically. One set of Gundam Meisters against another set.
Was that based on the Setsuna denies the Gundams thing that you just heard? Or maybe it was the previous scene of Setsuna denying the Gundams also in this episode. The flippant part of me from before still exists, which is to say, they're getting angry that somebody's doing what they were doing. Because think back, Terabia, for a second. Terabia was a country that just wanted to secede, and all they had was a defense force. They weren't attacking anyone. Yeah, they came in and attacked. Essentially, they just attacked a military base. Actually, what was the Ceylon Island? You remember, they went back there and just attacked a military base that was just there. That is no different than this. In fact, as previously been stated many times, if a celestial being thinks that you're threatening them in some way, or challenging them, rather, they will attack you. Eichmann is figuring their shit out. That is a challenge and a threat.
Yep, and they said it so in the message, which means also they managed to hack into the systems of the space.
I'm just indicating that Setsuna is getting pissed at somebody doing what they've done. So it's the same bullshit comment that I said about they try not to kill people. Bullshit, they don't. I don't know how you can avoid killing somebody with Terraria's weapon.
Yeah.
Sorry, Virtue's weapon that Terraria fires.
Yeah, I mean, still, I think they're going to end up in the story where one set of Gundams fights the other set of Gundams, and maybe older set of Gundams gets destroyed or damaged, which means they're going to get repaired, in which they're going to have this arc about, oh, we got to get better for the second season. So it's going to be Celestial Being and Celestial Being plus everyone else gunning for Celestial Being. That's what I predict is going to happen.
Yeah, I was waiting for some other thing because it seemed like you were getting exasperated with your own thought process.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm going through the process because the thing is, clearly the people that went to the ship at the beginning of the
80
episode
years ago.
were not 80 years ago. Were not members of Celestial Being originally. So they were like, "Oh, what happened here? Oh, we don't know what this is."
Well, what happened to the ship?
Yeah, it got stripped for parts. So they clearly were trying. They were trying.
No, there was a dead guy in there, and a Haru still floating around.
Mm.
The idea that they said that the solar reactors would have had to have been developed in the Jovian atmosphere? I don't remember what they said. Jovian something, but around Jupiter. If that's the case, and that indicates that this is part of Steinberg's plan, then why the fuck was it sitting there ruined? Why was there a dead guy in there? One would assume that since there was still a dead guy on the ship, that nobody went back until 80 years later.
Yeah. Unless the people that we've been following that we think are Celestial Being are in fact not the original Celestial Being, and these red suits are the original team. But
well, they've got the Haru from that ship.
Yeah.
Although that was still only 80 years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
so either
before,
these are
80 years before.
These are people who were stealing their stuff from Celestial Being and created their own version of it, or the version that we've been following that we think is the real Celestial Being, in fact, not Celestial Being, the original.
I mean, I don't know where you would take that from. Figuring out which was which if you thought that was the case, because they both seem like, oh, clearly this side can't be the real Celestial Being. They made all their people up out of, like, traumatic children or whatever. That doesn't seem like an organization that would do something for good. And then it's like, well, no, this one's filled with an insane girl, an insane guy,
and a murderous guy,
well,
and some guy who's
fine, which is, I guess, one more than the other side has,
and an evil Haru.
It's just purple with red eyes. That doesn't make it evil.
Yet.
Oh no, that will never make it evil. Purple and red eyes will never make it evil. Lessons. Something it does later, or something it has done, maybe like it killed everybody on that ship. You know?
Yeah. It went crazy.
Well, I mean, again, still a question in my mind.
It could have been a Killer Haru.
I will tell you right now, Lessons, I legitimately do not remember what happened to that ship. So to me, that is like a question. Like, what the fuck happened to that ship?
Yeah. Although, that also means, well, another thing is that they went, the girl entered Veda. Or at least a Veda console where they interact. So she could have acted, or she could have taken information from it, right? She interacted with it. So
they let them wander the ship.
Yeah, and Lock-on's Haru detected memories. Like, oh, you have memories there. So did he scan it, or
you and me got different things off of that one?
Yeah.
When I was saying it might be the original, and you're like, no, just a different generation or whatever. I was saying that if it's the original, and these are just copies of that one's memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to the thing. You were like disagreeing, but you're saying now it was detecting memories, and I'm thinking that's not it. I'm thinking it's saying I have your memories. That's why you're big brother. We're related in that sense.
Yeah.
I'm a generation of you.
But the other one didn't like the idea.
Doesn't know who it is. I feel like if you woke up and then was surrounded by clones of yourself, I don't know who you are. What the fuck? You know, Mickey 17 or whatever that movie was called.
Yeah. Well, it is an interesting setup. I will say that 00 doesn't stop, not surprising me. It keeps me hooked so far. I know you watch it, so
that's how jaded Lessons is to content. I'm never going to be surprised. I can't say I'm surprised by what's happened. From the moment Sumeragi was crying in the hallway, I knew this was going to come to pass.
Yeah, well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, these notes are going to be pretty interesting.
All right. Well, that said, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?